The number one reason most people say they aren't following their dreams is because they don't have enough money to. Well, we're team no excuses over here. Today's episode is all about how to shift your money mindset. It's time to secure those bags. You're listening to episode 13 of
The Gold Mine Podcast.
As women, we have to invest that time in getting to understand who we are.
Be ambitious, be bold, create the life of your dreams. This is the Gold Mine Podcast with your host, Adrian Dion.
What's up, you guys? It is July 3rd to be exact. And today's a special day for me. It's actually my 1 year anniversary, I guess you can say, anniversary, or it's been 1 year that I've been on a plant-based diet. And you guys, it's been amazing. Really, really, really amazing. And I'm so glad that I did this. I feel better. I feel like I look better. And so, yay to me. I literally watched What the Health, and even though we had just gone grocery shopping for the 4th of July, I threw out all of the meat and all of the dairy. I was like, I am not eating that crap anymore. And so I think I survived the What the Health wave last year, and I stuck with it, and I'm proud of myself for it. And like I said, I feel good. I'm happy with the results, and I think that I'm going to continue on my plant-based diet. It has so many great benefits, so that's all of that jazz. So how are you guys doing? I hope everyone is well. We are officially in the third quarter and really wrapping this year up. I'm like, what? This is crazy. So I hope that you guys are crushing your goals that you set from the beginning of the year. And if not, this is a good time to look back at what you've done, what you could have done better, and implement those things. We still have a lot of time left. Don't give up. Don't throw away those goals. This is a great time to align yourself, realign yourself, and get to work. All right, let's get into the show today. I'm super excited. My mom is here actually, and I was talking to her about this episode, and we were just really getting excited about it all actually. So I hope that you guys enjoy this show. I have a few insights from her, especially because I'm going to be talking a little bit about money and how it relates to the Bible. And she's like super knowledgeable. So don't give me all the credit for the Bible stuff. All right. So as I stated earlier, one of the main reasons most people say they aren't following their dreams is because they don't have enough money to. They don't have enough money to buy material or start their business or to help others. And that is an important thing. But I don't really think that it's a money problem. Most of the time when I've helped clients who had this same issue, it's been more so their mindset and not money. And so today I want to help you become aware of the thoughts that may be getting you the results you have in your life and showing you how to implement a brand new money mindset that's going to serve you best. You have to know that your financial state is a direct reflection of your thoughts. If you believe money is easy to get, you're going to see that manifested in your life. However, if you believe that money is hard to come by and that only certain people get money, you're going to see that manifested in your life as well. Today, I'm going to be discussing 4 different thought processes when it comes to money that I've seen a lot of people have. And the first one is that wanting money is a bad thing. You may not even realize that you're thinking it. And in fact, I didn't know I was either. But a good indication of knowing your thoughts about anything is to look at your feelings that arise around it. Dr. Nancy, I hope that you guys have listened to episode 2, and she was discussing a little bit about this whole thing about your emotions and your thoughts. And she was saying, like, if she said beach, there are certain feelings and thoughts that come up with that. And so that's the same thing that I want you to be aware of when you think about wanting money. Do you immediately become anxious, or is there a feeling of lack that comes up? Those are important things to be aware of, because they all play a very important part. I've literally talked to people who've said, hey, I don't want to be rich. I just want to have enough money to do this, to travel, or, to be able to make sure my kids can go to college. Or they'll say, I don't need a lot of money. People who are homeless and, sick or without family, they're the people who need the money, and I want to be able to help them. And I just want to say, it would be a lot easier for you to do those things if you had an abundance of money. But you can almost hear the guilt that they have with wanting money. And I think that a lot of it came from that saying, the love of money is the root of all evil. But I want you to look closely at that. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. There is absolutely nothing wrong with money itself. Money is neutral, and it's only as valuable as a person makes it be. So, for example, the value that I put on $10,000 and the value that Auntie Oprah puts on $10,000 is totally different. The problem with money starts when greed is introduced. Greed is defined as an intense and selfish desire for something. And that is what can cause detrimental effects, because people would do any and everything for not really money, but the things money can buy. And so that's where the problem comes in with money. You can look at the rich man in the Bible. This one I did come up with. I knew this one. If you look at the rich man in the Bible, it was talking about how he stored up riches. I think he had like a lot of crops and a lot of things that he didn't have room to store. And instead of him giving to other people, he said, I'll just build bigger buildings to put the stuff in. And I'll sit back and I'll look at all my stuff and I'll say, it's great. And I'll eat and drink and be merry. It was that selfish desire. He had no desire to help others. And for me, that's why I love money. I love all of the ideas that I have to help people and to give back and to do things. It will be easier to do when I have more money. If you're having thoughts like this, it's funny how our brain works, because we will literally self-sabotage ourselves based on the thoughts that we have. So even if you're working and you have a certain project or a business, but if you have those thoughts that wanting money is a bad thing, your brain is going to do everything it can to satisfy those thoughts. So it doesn't matter what type of success you have, how many opportunities there are out there for you to make more money, you're going to feel that sense of guilt. You're going to feel bad about wanting more, and therefore you're not going to have more. You're going to see those thoughts manifested in your life. So if this is something that you're thinking, if when you think about wanting more money, negative emotions come up and you don't like those things, this is definitely a thought that you want to do some work on. You want to recreate this type of thinking. The next limiting belief that I want to cover is that some people think that if one person has more, that means less for the next person. As many of you know, LeBron James is now going to the Lakers. He made this really hard for me because I don't like the Lakers, but I got to ride with my boy, so there it is. I was talking to a couple people the other day about his 153.3 or something contract that he signed. And somebody made the statement, that's just too much money for one person. That's horrible. And I literally could not understand why this person would say that. Like, I don't understand what's too much money for one person. Why? Who says that there's a certain amount of money one person can have at a certain amount of time? You know, why was that a problem? And I don't know if it was that they felt threatened or they felt, well, I do know it was this whole concept of, you know, if this person has this much money, then that means the rest of the world is going to suffer. And that's just not the case. 1 + 1 does not equal 2 in the abundance game. And a good way of you knowing if this is how you're thinking about money, if you start to feel bad when others gain, that's a good indication that your thinking is on this level. For example, if somebody gets a car or a house and all you can think about is, I wish I had, or, you know, there's negative feelings around that. I've always struggled when it came to why people get mad when other people get things. I don't get, like, why? And this is not to shame anyone or make you feel bad. I just want you to be aware of these things because these things are holding you back. These are the things that are not allowing you to see the results that you want in your life. So it's very important for you to own that your thinking is like this. And it's not your fault. These are things that have been taught to us, learned behaviors, but they can change. There is not one pie, so you don't have to worry about trying to get your slice before it all runs out. In fact, if the pie does run out, that's a perfect opportunity for you to create a new one. Create a new pie. That's what it's all about. That's the blessing of this life. When God is your source, that source never ends. It's unlimited. I saw a video the other day of this guy who, I think he was in another country like Africa or somewhere like this, and he took this guy who was clearly poor into a supermarket, and he told him, hey, you can get anything that you want. And he went to the cash register, like near the front, and he got a little bit of candy and like a drink or something. And he was like, that's all you want? He was like, yeah. He was like, no, you can get anything you want. So he goes back and he buys some chips and a little bit more things. And he comes back and the guy's like, that's all you want? And he's like, you can really get more, get anything you want. And like he goes back several times, but I just saw that in the same image of that's what God is saying to us. Like, I literally researched in the Bible that scripture about ask anything. There were no stipulations on it. You can literally have anything. Just ask for it and you can have it. Yet our limiting beliefs hold us back. We put God in a box and we won't allow him to do more for us. That is why I don't understand why quote unquote church people are always the ones begging and looking sad and poor. I mean, I do not want any part of your God with you looking like that. In the words of Jay-Z, there's a disconnect. We don't call that Christian over here. I was talking to my mom about that, and she was like, from the very beginning, God's plan was to prosper you. He said, I know the plan I have for you, and that's to prosper you. From the very beginning, Adam and Eve were placed in a garden where they had everything. They were rich. You know, Solomon asked God for wisdom, and God gave him riches. Yeah. What? The scriptures say that he was the richest man that ever lived. No king that lived before or after him had as much as he had. Job was rich. Before his troubles and after his troubles, God doubled it. So if there was a problem with being wealthy or rich, why was God always rescuing people out of bondage? I mean, let's be serious. Abraham was rich. His son Isaac was also rich. And the Bible even said that during the time where there was a famine throughout the land, he prospered. And I was like, what? My mom was telling me that one. And I was just like, why do you think God allowed his people to flourish and prosper when the other people didn't? And in my rationale, I was like, well, maybe it was because he was positioning them to be the lenders and not the borrower. And my mom made a great point, and she was saying it was because he wanted them to see that he was their source. So it didn't matter about what the economy was doing or who the king was. God showed that through him, they had all they needed. And please know that whenever he blessed, it wasn't just the mediocre. Their ends weren't just met. They always had abundance. In fact, think about the 5 fish or 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread. See, I need to do better. It said that even then they had leftovers. Or when God turned, water into wine, they were like, it was the best wine. Like everybody was lit that night. And they had a lot left. So he doesn't just bless to where your needs are just met and you have enough to pay that bill. And then you got to go back on your knees and pray for the rest of the month. Like he blesses in abundance. But he's a gentleman, so he's not going to push it on you. You have to have the thoughts and align yourself to be open for abundance, to be open for overflow. And you can't do that thinking that if you have, then that means less for anybody else. Our source is unlimited. That's the privilege that we have. God designed the universe to work in our favor. And so we have to align ourselves to be open to that. The next limiting belief that I believe a lot of people have is that they're afraid to have more money because they think money will change them. And I don't believe that to be true. I do believe that money only makes you more of who you are. If you're a generous person, you'll be more generous when you have more money. And if you're a stingy person, you'll be more stingy when you have more money. If you're worried about money now, don't think that getting more money is going to satisfy that. That's an inside job. You're going to be more worried and more anxious about your money when you have more money. I was talking recently with a friend of mine who's a financial advisor, and he was talking about how he has different clients with different portfolios who may have like $500,000 in their savings and $5 million. And they both have the same mental barriers, the same worries, the same anxiety, even though their accounts are totally different. It doesn't matter about the money, the amount of money that you have. It's the inside job. It only makes you more of who you are. You are the person that puts the value on that money. The money is nothing. So you really have to dig deep and fix those internal problems, those internal mindset beliefs that you have. Money is not going to change those things. The last mental barrier that I'm going to talk about is the fact that some people think the only way to get more money is by giving more time and more effort. This is absolutely wrong. And I'm going to talk more about that in a later episode this month. But for our purposes today, you need to know that your mind creates money. How does your mind create more money? Because it creates your feelings, and then your feelings drive your actions. Your actions create your money. But most of us don't think about money in a way of something we can create. We see it as either we have it or we don't. We either complain about it or we enjoy it. And that's a limited way of thinking. It's not going to serve you. And if you want to create different results financially, you must change your money belief system. And so how do we create a mindset or a belief system that will give us the results that we want? Well, let's look at what a belief is. A belief is only a thought that you decide is true and then choose to continue to think it. It's something that you've thought so much that you don't even realize you're thinking it anymore. You don't question it. It's just a habit of thought. And the great thing about it is that you get to choose if something is true or not. Your beliefs are based on your perceptions, which your perceptions are based solely on your experience. So, for example, I think that Chick-fil-A is the best fast food restaurant, hands down. Even though I don't eat there anymore, they are the best hands down. Is that true? Well, for me it is. For you it may not be. But my truth is based on my perception. My perception is based on my experience. Every single time I've gone to Chick-fil-A, it's been such a lovely experience. Like, they were out in the rain the last time I was there to take my order. Oh, it's a pleasure. What sauce would you like? They always get the sauce right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are the best, hands down, to me. That is my truth. But for you, it may be something else. So you get to choose what's true for you or not. Just because you see something in a certain way does not necessarily mean that's the way it actually is in reality. So I said all of that to say, the thoughts that you have right now that are not getting you the results that you want don't have to be true for you. You can change them, and you must change them if you are to implement a new belief system. But you have to spend the time understanding and being aware of the thoughts you have right now. You cannot do this work until you know the thoughts that you have about money that's producing the results you have in your life. We are only limited by our minds, and I'm going to prove it to you. How much money will you realistically make this year and in your life? Think about that. How are you able to predict this? Most of you will look into your past and you'll be limited by what you think is possible based on what other people have told you is possible. You know, like how we look up our job on Glassdoor and it tells us the amount of money that job is going to be able to, make. What's the average? And we say, okay, this is the amount of money I can make in a year. Or it'll be based on what you've already done previously. I've never made more than $60,000 a year. And I look around at my peers and they all make $60,000 a year. So that's the amount of money that I'm going to be able to make. Just in that small question, you're able to see you're only limited by your mind. Why is that the case? Why is that your truth? Think about that. Be very clear about that. Changing that number is way easier than you might think. And thinking is the only thing that needs to change to make that happen. Out of all the money available for you to create, you choose to create the amount you currently have. Do you tell yourself the story that it wasn't a choice, that you're doing it the best that you can or something else? Explain that to yourself. Really understand why you've chosen to think the way you have been thinking about money. And decide about the new way you want to think about money. It's your choice. However you want to think, that's your truth. You make your own. And so after you become aware of your thinking in regards to money, and you decide on the new way you would like to think and feel about money, decide on the type of relationship you want to have with money. And know that when I say relationship, I'm strictly talking about money. That neutral thing, and not a relationship with the things money can buy, because those are two completely different things. A lot of people say, I've already tried thinking like I have a lot of money and that doesn't work. Well, it probably doesn't work because you try to express having this new mindset of abundance around money by spending money as if you already have it, and you're only creating more of a deficit. When in fact, people who have money, they take care of it. They don't get rid of it as soon as they get it. They invest it. They look for ways and opportunities to grow it. They purchase only things that will give them a good return on investment. You get what I'm saying? So the type of relationship you have with money just means the type of way you will think about money. I choose to think about money as something that is easy to get. If I make a mistake about handling it, it's okay because it's easy for me to get it again, and I'll make better choices next time. I choose to think that money is a great way for me to help others, so I don't feel guilty about asking for it. I choose to think that amount of money I have is a representation of the amount of value I'm putting out in the world. That's my truth. So if I want to create more money, then I'm going to work on creating more value. So what type of relationship will you decide to have? It's very important to know this. And lastly, in order to create a money mindset that will give you the results that you want, you must practice those new thoughts until they become beliefs. Once they become beliefs, you'll start to operate from them, which will in turn create the results that you want to see. And how do you practice? By consciously choosing to commit to your new thoughts when the old limiting beliefs come up, because they will. Do not get it twisted. This will not be an easy process. This abundant money mindset thing will not happen overnight. Just because think about how long those limiting beliefs have been at work. You will get a lot of resistance from your brain just because it doesn't want to change. It likes for things to stay the same. And anytime something new is introduced, the brain will scream fear and danger because it loves the comfort zone of the place that it's in. So if you go into this process already knowing this, then you won't be alarmed when those limiting beliefs come up because you know that this is a part of the process. Change is possible, but you have to stay aware, you have to stay focused, and most importantly, you have to stay committed. All right, guys, this is all I have for you today. Next week, we're going to be talking about how much money do you really need anyway. So I think it's going to be a really good one, and you guys are going to enjoy it. If you guys have been enjoying the show, please rate and leave a review on iTunes. It would really help for our ratings and our exposure. I really appreciate it. And also, if you are interested in working with me for some one-on-one coaching, July enrollment is still open and it will be open for another week. I know the holidays are here and so everybody's kind of traveling and all over the place, so I have extended it for another week. I would love to work with you and help you accomplish those goals. Be safe tomorrow. Don't eat meat. No, I'm just playing. Have enough food for me. I love you guys and I will talk to you next week. Bye.